Note: all statistics are through Monday, March 11th. Welcome to Spring League, NBA fans. This is the part of the regular season that most closely resembles the NBA's Summer League exhibition series, where many franchises focus more on getting an extended look at young prospects and giving their stars a break. Take the Los Angeles Lakers, for example. With the playoffs all but out of reach, LeBron James was placed in a load management protocol by the Lakers, whose 2019 first-round pick becomes more valuable every minute that James does not play. The Lakers also signed 33-year-old G League journeyman Andre Ingram to a 10-day contract after he became a national sensation last season. No disrespect to Ingram, but the Lakers, like the New Orleans Pelicans, are making the organizational choice to not try to win games. As such, there's going to be a whole lot of non-competitive stretches in the final month of the season. With that in mind, I decided to take a look at garbage time heroes that could help you when your fantasy league or choose what to watch every night. I've broken it down into 3 categories. First, I was curious about which stars have the largest differential in how they score when the scoreboard is tight compared to when the game gets out of hand. For those, I looked at each of the top 25 scorers and analyzed their points per 36 minutes when the score is within 5 points versus when the lead or deficit is over 15 points. Garbage time. The players with the biggest jumps in scoring during garbage time are listed below. Secondly, I identified a few players who could see big numbers down the stretch as their teams go into full-out tank mode. And lastly, I listed 3 G League call-ups that could make some noise down the stretch as good teams rest their stars for the playoffs and bad teams rest their stars for the draft lottery. Let's get to it. Opportunistic stars. Klay Thompson. Of the top 25 scorers, no one saw their scoring numbers jump during garbage time more than Thompson. He scores 29.5 points per 36 minutes when the Warriors are either leading or trailing by more than 15 points compared to 22.7 points per 36 minutes when it's within 5 or less. That's not just a matter of touches. Thompson's field goal percentage also drops from 54% to 46% when the games are more competitive, a decline anchored by a 3-point percentage that sinks from 49% to 36% in the same situation. This isn't an isolated case, either. Though he's certainly had his playoff moments. Sorry, OKC, Thompson has also seen his scoring shrink in the playoffs when the competition is stronger than in the regular season. The sharpshooter has averaged more than 20 points per game in each of the previous 4 regular seasons but has reached that plateau just once in the past 4 postseasons. It could be that playoff teams try to take away Thompson first and then deal with the rest of the Warriors. Teams could also be keying in on Thompson a lot more when the game is close and loosen their grip when the game seems out of hand. But either way, Thompson's scoring rate jumps 6.7 points in garbage time, the highest in this group. Zach LaVine. LaVine has fought the label of being an overrated good stats bad team guy. While such criticism is unfair for a guy who just turned 24 years old and tore his ACL 2 years ago, these numbers certainly doesn't help his case. LaVine has scored 161 points in 199 minutes of garbage time this season, a rate of 29.1 points per 36 minutes. But when the game is close, LaVine's scoring average plummets to 23.2 points per 36 minutes, a difference of 5.9 points, the second largest gap on this list. Most of LaVine's scoring surge in garbage time can be attributed to his overt aggressiveness. In those less competitive minutes, he's shooting 21.2 field goal attempts per 36 minutes, compared to just 18.4 in tighter situations. He's actually sharper from three-point land in close situations, 41% versus 30%, which further emphasizes that this is more about usage than it is about efficiency. Still, scoring 23.2 points per 36 minutes in competitive circumstances ain't bad. Bradley Beal. No star has scored more points in garbage time than Beal, 278 points. Most of that is because the Wizards get blown out of 10, but that's hardly Beal's fault. Case in point, since the All-Star break, the Wizards are plus 47 with Beal on the floor and minus 46 with him off the court. Beal's scoring average in garbage time situations is 27.3 points per 36 minutes, which is 4.6 points larger than when games are tighter. That being said, I still think he should be in the All-NBA conversation. I laid out his candidacy in this week's Big Number video. Even if Beal has a scoring surge in garbage time, those situations only make up 15% of his minutes this season. The guy has played more minutes than anybody in the NBA this season. If he's ball hogging a bit in blowouts, so be it. CJ McCollum. Fun fact, McCollum is a card-carrying member of the 50-40-90th shooting club, as long as we're talking about garbage time. For those who don't know, the 50-40-90th shooting club is reserved for those who shoot at least 50% from the floor, 40% from deep and 90% from the line. This is the elite of the elite. The Portland shooting guard is shooting 51% from the floor, 42% from deep and 91% from the charity stripe in these blowout situations. He fits the same profile as Thompson, an elite shooter who rarely gets to the free throw line. He's also someone who, until last postseason, had struggled to put up the same caliber of numbers in the postseason as the regular season. McCollum is still a super talented scorer in tighter situations, 21.4 points per 36 minutes, but he finds himself on this list because both his usage and efficiency rise when the game's stakes are lowest. This is best illustrated by his whopping 25.4 points per 36 minutes in garbage time. The Blazers would probably benefit by figuring out how to have McCollum more involved in crunch time, simply to lessen the burden on Damian Lillard and make the offense more democratic. Russell Westbrook. Of all the top 25 scorers, no one saw a larger gap in field goal percentage according to the scoreboard. In close situations, Westbrook has shot 39% from the floor, an ugly figure for a go-to scorer. In garbage time, Westbrook's field goal percentage soars to 50%, a difference of 11%. Continuing this trend, Westbrook's shooting percentages have tumbled in postseason play over the last few years, as he failed to shoot above 40% in each of the last two playoffs, both first-round exits for the Thunder. Westbrook has come up huge in the playoffs before. 2016 Western Conference Finals Games 3 and 4 against Golden State as a place to start, as is OKC's 2012 run to the finals. The Thunder hope to get more of that Westbrook in this upcoming postseason. Interestingly enough, Westbrook's 2.7-point jump in garbage time, 24.1 versus 21.4, isn't a matter of shooting more. He actually has seen his field goal attempts per 36 minutes fall from 20.4 in close situations to 18.1 in garbage time. He's just vastly more efficient when the game's not out of hand. Tank Pilot's Tim Hardaway Jr. Luka Doncic is limping to the finish line and could be shut down soon. Dirk Nowitzki's hinting that he's giving it another go so there won't be a last hurrah scoring binge, a la Kobe Bryant. Throw in the fact that the Mavericks lose their first-round pick to Atlanta if it falls out of the top 5 on draft lottery night, and you have the makings of a Tim Hardaway Jr. scoring binge. Hardaway Jr.'s minutes have fallen from 32.6 per night in New York to 28.9 per night in Dallas, but if they pull the plug on the season, THJ could fill it up. He sees his scoring rate skyrocket when he's not playing with Doncic, going from 15.4 points per 36 minutes with the rookie sensation to 23.0 points per 36 minutes with Doncic on the bench, per NBA.com. Icing on the cake, the Mavericks also get blown out by 11.6 points per 36 minutes with Hardaway on the floor without Doncic. Tank Pilot, indeed. Julius Randle. Tim Hardaway's situation would only get more tank-tastic if he was a free agent trying to get paid this summer. This guy, Randall, on the other hand, he'll nuke his $9 million player option well before July 1st with the way he's playing. This used to be Anthony Davis's team. Then it was Drew Holiday's team. Now, with Holiday ailing, it's Randall's team for the next month. Randall is an undeniable talent on the offensive end, but he gives up just as much defensively. Randall is averaging 23.8 points per game since Davis's tanking, load management program went into effect on Feb. 12. Since that point, the Pelicans surrender 110.4 points per 100 possessions to the other team when Randall is on the floor, compared to a stingy 102.8 points per 100 possessions when he's on the bench, per NBA.com. As long as Randall is playing, there will be buckets. Joakim Noah, he's back. Since the trade deadline, Noah is averaging 11.6 points, 8.2 rebounds and 3.9 assists in just 22.4 minutes per game. Translated per 36 minutes, 18.6 points, 13.2 rebounds and 6.2 assists. He's not just filling up the box score with hollow numbers, he's genuinely made Memphis a better team since it took a flyer on him earlier this season. The Grizzlies have him on a one-year veterans minimum contract, so it'll be interesting to see how they feature him down the stretch. With the way it's going, he might play himself into a pricier contract than the Grizzlies will be willing to pay. Part of me just wants to see Noah firing up three-pointers for the heck of it. The Grizzlies only keep their 2019 first-round pick if it falls in the top 8. They're currently sitting with the 7th worst record in the NBA. I'm praying for Noah 3 bombs. G League call-ups Andre Ingram after a disastrous season in Los Angeles. Ingram is the last hope to end the season on a high note. Brandon Ingram, not related, is out for the season with blood clots. Lonzo Ball is likely finished. Kyle Kuzma is battling a bum ankle. James is on the Brow program. It's Andre's time to shine. The Lakers obviously don't think he's going to help them win games, otherwise they'd sign him earlier to help with a genuine playoff push. Nonetheless, it's a heartwarming story for basketball's Crash Davis, having made his NBA debut as a 32-year-old rookie last season. Ingram scored just 12.8 points per 36 minutes for the South Bay Lakers this season with a G League career-low 35.7% from three-point land, but the Lakers figure to give him every opportunity to recreate the magic from Staples Center last April. Don't forget about Dre, Christian Wood, this guy can fill it up. The 23-year-old averaged 28.7 points and 13.9 rebounds per game in the G League this season and currently ranks No. 1 all-time in career per for the G League. Yes, that's a thing. Here's the issue, he's buried on the Milwaukee Bucks bench. The top-seeded Bucks called Wood up from the G League last Friday, but he hasn't gotten any burn as they try to lock up home court advantage throughout the playoffs. If the team contracts the injury bug or rests its bigs down the stretch, keep a close eye on Wood. He could be the next Hassan Whiteside, just waiting for his big league opportunity. Jordan McRae, the NBA journeyman, is someone to watch if the Washington Wizards are finally eliminated from the playoffs. McRae actually got garbage time burn during the 2016 finals with the Cavs, and he torched the G League this season on a two-way contract with the Wizards, averaging 30.6 points per game on 48% shooting from the floor and 35% from deep for the Capital City Go-Goss. McRae wasn't a great fit for a championship-contending Cavs squad, but if he gets some run with the Wizards down the stretch, he could put up big scoring numbers. He's nursing a sore Achilles at the moment, but I wouldn't rule out a big April from the 27-year-old NBA champ. Scored 20 points in 26 minutes in a win over the Atlanta Hawks last month. More that could be in order. Follow me on Twitter, @TomHaberstra, and bookmark NBCSports.com/Haberstra for my latest stories, videos and podcasts. Note, this article has been updated from its original version. Ahead of the 2017 Western Conference semifinals against the Houston Rockets, James Borrego sat in with Greg Popovich for the San Antonio Spurs coaches meeting. This would be Popovich's 51st playoff opponent in his coaching career, but Borrego, as the Spurs assistant coach, knew the Spurs were prepping to face a team unlike anything Popovich had seen in his 3 decades on the sidelines. Houston liked taking threes, but it loved taking deep threes. That season, the Rockets took an NBA-high 23.7 three-pointers per game ranging from 25 to 29 feet, according to NBA.com tracking. For context, the NBA's three-point line stands roughly 23 feet from the basket. No team had ever averaged more than 17 such shots in the history of the NBA, but the Rockets were different. Ryan Anderson, James Harden and Eric Gordon weren't just lining up from beyond the arc, they were lining up well beyond the arc. Despite the extra yards of distance, they still shot a healthy 35% on those shots, just about league average on all three-pointers. Harden ran out of gas in the series and the Spurs dispatched the Rockets in 6 games, in part because they limited Houston's second-chance points. 2 years later, Borrego is the head coach of the Charlotte Hornets and still thinks about that pre-series meeting against Houston. More specifically, he remembers the big takeaway: reprogram how you crash the boards. That was one of the keys for us in our playoff series with Houston, Borrego said. You can't just crash to the paint area. You have to come out long. Go to the elbow area and Red did from there. What the Spurs noticed was that Patrick Beverley and Anderson were sniping offensive rebounds further out from the basket area. The Rockets had discovered a new wrinkle, born out of Newtonian physics. They figured out these long threes were producing long rebounds, Borrego said. So these guys were going to the elbow area and the free throw line area to get second chance opportunities. Then it created another wide-open three-pointer for them. More from Haberstro, Tom's Toolbox, a glossary of crucial NBA terms. Borrego still harkens back to those meetings today. This season, the average team takes 19 shots from 25 to 29 feet and the three-point attempts are only getting deeper. Like never before, teams are taking what I call logo threes, from 30 to 40 feet, usually near the home team's giant half-court logo. There have been 777 such shots already this season, up from 525 in 2016-17 and on pace to shatter last season's total of 860. We might hit 1,000 such shots by season's end. But here's the fascinating trend that will change the way you watch the upcoming playoffs. Because of the hidden value of more second-chance opportunities, logo threes are far more effective than they appear to be by looking at raw field goal percentage. Due to the laws of physics, teams get second-chance opportunities on logo threes at a much higher rate. So much so that logo threes are turning into BOGO threes, buy one, get one free. Just like your local grocery store. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Houston coach Mike D'Antoni laughs off the question. Did the Rockets take more deep threes? Not because they made more, but because of the sneaky second-chance opportunities when they missed. Nah, D'Antoni said, smiling. A miss doesn't come into our vocabulary. Touché, coach. Although the Rockets have a seemingly cold-blooded numbers guy as their GM and Daryl Morey, this trend wasn't cooked up in a lab. Instead, it began when D'Antoni watched his players practice three-point shots. The further out they went, it didn't seem to matter. They kept making them. The reason it came about was because Ryan Anderson was shooting and James Harden and Eric Gordon, D'Antoni said. And they would sit back there and shoot it. That gives us more room. That just makes sense. It was a matter of spacing. Offensive rebound potential, or the idea of a BOGO three, wasn't part of the thinking. But maybe it should be. I asked Daryl Blackport, the guru behind the statistical goldmine site PBPstats.com, and Mike Buoi, of hoops research site Unpredictable.com, to crunch the numbers for me. Are longer threes rebounded by the offensive team more often than shorter threes? Was Beverley, an amazing offensive rebounder, onto something? The short answer was yes. The long answer has some layers to it. Let's peel them back. The typical three-pointer is not a great second-chance opportunity. The average NBA team gets an offensive rebound on 27% of their misses, per NBA.com/stats. But that number falls to roughly 20% on non-corner three-pointer misses. Blackport removed corner threes from his particular research because we wanted to isolate the effect of distance, and you simply can't take deep corner threes without stepping out of bounds or, worse, spilling someone's $15 beer. The upshot, you might get an extra point for making a three-pointer good, but the second chance opportunity declines from 27% to 20% bad. It's a trade-off. Things change when players step back to the logo, for threes taken from 30 to 40 feet. Originally, the data said offensive rebounds were being recovered from those shots at a drastic rate, 31% for logo threes and up to 56% for threes taken from 34 to 35 feet. I know what you're probably thinking. There's got to be a quirk here. Like our end-of-quarter heaves or shot clock violations being mistakenly recorded as offensive rebounds. Then, on Friday, BOI and Blackport identified a quirk in the play-by-play data that overstated the BOGO effect. Shot clock violations and buzzer beaters have a tricky way of being logged in play-by-play data. Take this example by Trey Burke. Or this one from Marco Bellinelli. Both instances were registered as offensive rebounds with 0.01 second on the clock. Obviously, that rebound did not happen in time. With the new information at hand, the observed BOGO effect did not disappear entirely. The offensive rebound rate on logo threes, 30 to 40 feet, shrunk from 31% to 23% after accounting for the tricky play-by-play notation. Shorter threes yielded a 20% offensive rebound rate, so the BOGO effect was still there but considerably muted, 3%. Does this revolutionize the sport? No, but it is enough to affect team strategy in a league where deep threes are becoming more utilized. To wrap your head around why this might be, think about rebounding strategy. Giants tussle for inside position near the basket and box out their opponent so that when a ball falls off the rim, they can snatch it away. But what if the ball doesn't fall off the rim? What if it jumps off the rim and soars to the free throw line? Now that box out becomes inverted. If the ball soars overhead, the guy you just boxed out has actually boxed you out. This could have worthwhile implications on the sport. For those who don't want to see an NBA consisting of guys chucking up 35-footers, the good news is that there were only a total 95 shots from the 34 to 35-foot range over the past 6 seasons. It's a rare occurrence, and the small sample size could be warping the offensive rebound rates. Perhaps if we see more of these shots, the effect will regress to the mean sum. Or maybe longer rebounds mean a tad more fast break opportunities the other way. Blackport said there's generally no evidence to support that theory, at least not in two-point jumpers versus three-point jumpers, or maybe coaches will change their rebounding strategy and account for the strong ricochet off of misses. But as time goes on, there may be fewer misses to get. Guys are literally practicing way out there, D'Antoni said. And getting better at it. The Atlanta Hawks call them swag shots. Come across half court, pull up in the open court in rhythm and let it fly, no matter where you are. With a freak talent like rookie guard Trae Young at the helm, it's something Hawks coach Lloyd Pierce has embraced to an extent. The swag shot is not to be abused, Pierce said. The moniker started with former Hawks guard Tyler Dorsey, who made a habit out of burying opponents in summer league with an on-the-move deep three. It wasn't that different from what Young did to scores of opponents across the NCAA while at Oklahoma. But that doesn't mean he, or the young Hawks, have a green light all the time. We know Trae Young can shoot from deep, but if we come down and just start jacking threes, there's a lot of sloppy play that goes along with that, Pierce said. That might be true, but the results are undeniable. no one takes more swag shots or logo threes than Young, who is closing the gap on Luka Doncic in the Rookie of the Year race. According to Basketball Reference tracking, Young is shooting 18 of 47 on shots between 30 and 40 feet, excluding end-of-quarter heaves, a conversion rate of 38%. His normal three-point shooting percentage is much lower, at 33%. Yes, Young has actually been better on long threes than short threes. Young isn't alone. The extra room from back there may be helpful. On Thursday night, during a potential playoff matchup between the Portland Trail Blazers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, Damian Lillard, a master of the deep tray, will put the BOGO 3 on center stage. As I featured on The Big Number recently, Lillard is freakishly good at long-distance three-pointers, shooting 12 of 28, 43%, on shots between 30 and 40 feet. Curry, too, is making 43% of his 30-footers. Others aren't as successful this season. Harden stands at 27%, and Gordon is at 20%. Look deeper into Lillard's numbers, and you find that of his 16 misses on those shots, the Blazers recovered 3 of them, generating an offensive rebound rate of just 19%. But those 3 second-chance opportunities led to 3 close baskets, which means that of Lillard's 28 logo 3 attempts, he scored 42 points through his own makes 36 points, and the Portland makes after his missed 6 points. That's an astonishing 1.50 points per possession. To put it in perspective, the Golden State Warriors are the best offense of all time, and they score 1.16 points per possession. On Saturday at the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver was interviewed by The Ringer's Bill Simmons. It was a thrilling hour-long conversation that ranged from serious issues like mental health to lighter topics like adding a mid-season tournament. The concept of deep threes came up when Simmons asked Silver about adding a 4-point line for the first 3 quarters. You could hear the crowd giggle at the thought. But Silver wasn't laughing. The commissioner revealed that he actually suggested adding a 4-point line for the All-Star Game to soup it up a little bit, but his idea was not met warmly by the NBA's competition committee, which is staffed by players, coaches and GMs. Silver was surprised to learn that even the All-Star Game was too sacred for his idea of a 4-point line, something I advocated in a letter to Silver back in 2014. They threw me out of the room, Silver told Simmons. The reaction was, "How dare you? The integrity of the game is first and foremost. This is not rock and jock, but I think ideas like that are interesting. We should look at things like that. The idea is that we should give extra incentive for elite shooters to step back and shoot the long three, one of the coolest shots in the game. Players showing off their extreme skill is a good thing for the league and growth of the game, so let's create an artificial bonus for that." But maybe Silver doesn't need to add another line to the game. The incentive is already there, secretly tucked into the equation, in the form of that easier to get extra possession. Follow me on Twitter, @TomHaberstra, and bookmark NBCSports.com/Haberstra for my latest stories, videos and podcasts. Editor's note: after publishing, additional research found that, due in part to inconsistency in NBA record-keeping, the percentages of offensive rebounds on long-distance three-pointers were smaller than originally stated. We've updated the article to reflect these changes. Today's NBA looks alien compared to a decade ago. The conversation and the lens by which we view the NBA has changed with it. You may have heard some new terminology in this space and go, "Huh. I don't want to lose my readers," so with that in mind, I decided to write up a glossary that you can use as a trusty guide next time I bring up an acronym that sounds like a bill proposed on Capitol Hill. Let's call it Tom's Toolbox. Here are some of my favorites. Offensive rating: points scored by a team every 100 possessions, also commonly referred to as offensive efficiency. Offensive rating adjusts points per game to give a better sense of a team's ability to put the ball in the basket.